Social media and websites might show you where you want to stay. Sales, they tell you when to book. But they rarely tell you where you actually are. I'm Megan, and yes, I talk about Sandals and Beaches resorts. The weekly sales, the promos worth booking, and the ones you can skip. Room categories, upgrades, insider tips, and how to actually get the best value for your vacation. But a resort doesn't exist in a vacuum. It sits on an island with a story, shaped by history, culture, food, people, and moments you'll never find on a booking page. On Islands Uncovered, we go beyond the resort gates. We talk about the islands and the people that Sandals and Beaches call home. The legends, the flavors, the unexpected stories hiding just beneath the surface. Because the best trips aren't just well priced, they're well understood. This is where smart booking meets storytelling. This is where vacations feel more meaningful. This is Islands Uncovered. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Islands Uncovered, the Monday edition, the off-resort edition, where we go off-resort and explore different parts of the various islands that Sandals and Beaches call home. My name is Megan, and I am the owner of Dare to Dream Travel, and I am taking you today to Curacao. We're headed back to Curacao. The last time that we were in Curacao, we were talking about cocktails and blue Curacao. And today we are talking about something else that is also very, very blue. It is Curaçao's Blue Room Cave. I wanted to head back to Curacao, and this particular adventure caught my eye because there were some similarities between this cave and the Bat Cave that I kayaked into when I was at Sandals St. Vincent. And if you were not a listener of my previous podcast, The Planner's Passport, where I talked about that little adventure down in St. Vincent, I will do a retelling here. I'll get some more info on that Bat Cave because I did find it to be quite interesting. And mostly because then I can share the video again of our little kayaking adventure through the cave with the bats. But today we are not talking about bats, even though I did read that there are a few maybe in this cave. But that's not the highlight here. The Blue Room in Curacao is much different. So this is going to be a extremely popular diving site, and it's going to be located on the west coast of Curacao. So if you're staying at Sandals Royal Curaçao, you're going to be staying on more of the southern part of the island, and this is on the northwest tip of Curacao. So it probably will take you about an hour or so to get there driving, but most people do reach this location by boat. So we're going to talk about the various ways to get there, what it is, and why I think you definitely should check it out the next time that you go down there to Sandals Royal Curaçao. So the Blue Room Cave. It got its name because of the color of the water. And looking up all of the pictures, it is just this radiant blue. Like you see the pictures and think that this has got to be unnatural, just this beautiful color blue. So I did a little research, and it turns out there are other little caves and grottos around the world that have this phenomenon happen in them. And one I found was the Blue Grotto over in Italy, which is off of Capri. That's where that one is. And then there's also one, the Blue Cave in Croatia. So there may be more, but those were the two that kind of stood out. And just knowing that this is definitely one area where this is happening, and it's the closest one, at least for me. So how does this happen? If you're looking at pictures online and looking at doing this excursion, what is causing this to happen? And what I read is that it's actually the reflection of the sunlight in the cave. So when the sunlight hits the surface of the water on the outside of the cave, what it does is it passes through a natural underwater opening. And then the light refracts off of this white limestone floor in the cave. And that's what creates the blue glow. So any of these the Blue Grotto in Italy, it's all this white limestone. It's the perfect mix of the limestone with the light refracting. And it's definitely not something that happens all of the time. You have to have a specific angle of the sunlight, meaning that you have to visit during certain times of the day. And then the clarity of the water is really, really crucial when you are looking to get the full effect. So, from everything I read, the best time to visit the Blue Room is between 11 and 1, and it should be a really sunny and calm day for you to go in. Now, it also needs to be calm because you can't just walk right into this cave. This is not for the weak of heart. And here is where the similarities with my bat cave experience lie. And we will touch on that so that you know what you are getting yourself into if you sign up for that. But the Blue Room, it wasn't always an attraction. This is just a natural, phenomenon that occurred due to the erosion and just how the island was formed. And local divers and snorkelers kind of discovered the area by accident. So there's an area next to it that's called Mushroom Forest, and it's a really popular dive site. So you might go there if you're a diver. It's still very popular. But when people are over there, you'll see like this really narrow cliffside opening that it doesn't really catch your eye, but people went in there because it was a place to go, so what's called go off gas. So in dives, it's essentially you go and you decompress in shallower water and calm water. So if they went in here, you could go off gas and you could go into the chamber and there's air in there, so you could just have a short little rest between the dive sites. So that's how people went in, and they started seeing at different times of the day this beautiful, beautiful, almost unnatural blue glow to the water. And that's how this was originally discovered. There was some history and folklore and legends about pirates and treasure and lore and all that kind of stuff, but I'm not going to get into that because there's nothing substantiating that. Those are just all stories. So, Curacao is very well known for its diving. So, this to me makes sense that that people just eventually caught wind that this was a great place to rest between dives and then, of course, discovering the beautiful blue color. So, word was getting spread around in the diving community about this spot. And in 2006, there was a world renowned underwater photographer named Amos Nacho. Nachum? I'm sorry. Again, I cannot pronounce people's names. Nachum? I will definitely put his name in the show notes. And so he came and because he had heard about this place and he did this amazing photo. He captured the cave's light and the ambiance, and he just really made people more aware of the Blue Room with his very famous photo of it. And he's still very active from what I was seeing. He's a great photographer. You can follow him on Instagram. He is known worldwide. And this photo for sure definitely set the Blue Room in Curacao on the map. So I mentioned that you need to be careful when you go. I will 1,000,000% encourage you to hire a professional tour operator to take you to this cave. This is not a cave that you can just walk into. From everything I read, there are two options, one being better than the other. The first option is you hike in and then you hike down this very steep path to get to the water. And then you have to get into the water and swim over to where you can get into the cave. The other option, which seems to be online the preferred option, is to go by boat. You are less tired when you arrive. You still have to get out of the boat and swim in. This boat is not taking you in this cave. This is a narrow opening, but at least that way you have saved your energy and you can just get out of the boat and swim in. So with the boat, obviously you've conserved your energy. Now you can just snorkel, swim up. I couldn't quite tell if you still have to go underwater a little bit, even if it is low tide, but you're swimming into this very narrow cave area and then it opens up. And then what I read is once you get inside, it's like a max of, I think it said like 20 feet deep. And you can see, little fish, and there's coral that I believe is like this bright orange coral. And then you can see lobsters and crabs and various sea life. But the big draw, of course, is the color of the water. It's named the Blue Room. How blue this looks, how almost unnatural it looks, but it is. It's all natural. It's all refracted light. And it's just a really beautiful, amazing thing to go see. As I mentioned, there are multiple tours that will take you down there. Island Routes is the one that I can vouch for. They have a tour that goes on Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's a long tour day because they do, you're on a catamaran and you get to see multiple little sites, and they do have a backup option if the conditions are not great for actually going in the Blue Room. So you're doing some snorkeling and seeing some other stuff. But you always have the option for private tours as well. Please reach out if you are interested in learning more about Sandals Royal Curaçao, the Island Routes tours that will go take you to the Blue Room. Again, this is definitely something that is worth going to see if you love to snorkel, if you love to see marine life and just natural wonders. Curacao is full of them. So that's it. That was just my short little podcast episode for this Monday, hoping to get you off the resort, seeing some fun things. As always, if you have interest in going down to Sandals Curacao or any of the Sandals or Beaches resorts, please reach out. My services are always 100% completely free to you. I am doing that Sandals virtual VIP event on Monday, March 2nd at 6:30 p.m. CST. So if you would like to register for that, please reach out. I will send you the registration link. All of my social media handles are in the podcast notes and my email as well. So if you register for the event and you listen on your computer to the little presentation, you are eligible to get some freebies if your room qualifies and you book within the 2 weeks following the event. So I'm happy to send you more details on that. Please reach out. And I will be back on Wednesday for the weekly Sandals sales report. Thanks for listening, everybody. Bye-bye.